Opposing Viewpoints. I'm Tatum Everett, and it's Rams week. The Vikings return to US Bank Stadium on Sunday to try and keep those playoff hopes alive. Let's bring in our Vikings team member, team reporter Eric Smith. And Eric, it's been a big day here at Twin Cities Performance Orthopedic Center as news that Dalvin Cook was assigned to the COVID-19 list broke just a few hours ago. What is the state of this team right now heading into Sunday?
It's tough. It's tough, honestly. I mean, Dalvin, no doubt, is one of the Vikings' best overall players, much less best offensive players. He's certainly, the straw that kind of stirs the drink on offense. And you said it, as the team tries to keep their playoff hopes alive down the stretch, they're going to have to do it for at least one game without Dalvin. Offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak said today Dalvin will not play Sunday against the Rams. It'll be Alexander Mattison starting in that spot. So here we go. I mean, Mattison has started 3 games already this season. He's ran for at least 90 yards in every start, so he's not a bad backup. He's certainly not the Pro Bowl talent that Dalvin is, but Dalvin will not play Sunday, and we'll have to try to find a way to get a win.
Yeah, as it's been all season long, it will be the next man up for that Vikings running back room. But here to talk the Rams side of things with us on Opposing Viewpoints is Los Angeles Times NFL reporter Sam Farmer, Hall of Famer himself, who won the Dick McCann Award back in 2019. We are so lucky to have you on the show, Sam. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Tatum. Well, that was bad news for the Vikings, good news for the Rams, and bad news for me because Dalvin Cook is the lead horse on my fantasy team.
Yeah, I know. You just heard about that, and so now you're going to kind of scramble to find somebody to pick up on the waiver wire.
Oh, yeah. Well, a little bit of trivia on Dalvin Cook. He was the first pick of Craig Kupp, Cooper Kupp's dad, in the fantasy draft. So instead of taking his son, he took Dalvin Cook with his first pick.
Yeah, that's a great piece of information there. Thanks for sharing. We do want to get your take, though, on this Rams team who seems to be hot right now. They've won 3 of the last 4 since their bye week. What is the state of this team as they head into the race for the division title?
The Rams definitely are confident now, having won 3 in a row. They, had that 3-game lull. And they're getting healthy COVID-wise. They're probably not going to have Tyler Higbee, who's a main component, their tight end in that offense. But they've got OBJ back. They've got a lot of their defenders back, and they've got a right tackle back in Rob Havenstein. So that was key. They played without a true right tackle in this last game against Seattle. So that's key. And you're looking at Mathew Stafford is coming off a tremendous game, and Cooper Kupp, right, making that beautiful catch right there, is really in the MVP conversation. So it's pretty exciting in Los Angeles. But again, this is a team that's been prone to lulls a little bit, so you got to wonder which Rams team is going to show up.
Yeah, Sam, as the Rams go for a division title, the Vikings are fighting just to get into the wild card. The Green Bay won the NFC North last weekend, so that is out for the Vikings. It's all focused on the wild card, and right now they are the number 7 seed. So they're in if the season were to end today. But the Vikings at 7-7 are trying to get above 500 for, I think it's the 4th time this season. Minnesota has not been above 500 since the end of the 2019 season. That's been a hump that the team has not been able to get over in almost 2 years now. And I don't know why. They get right there every time. They had a chance, obviously, in week 1, but then against the Cowboys, against the Lions, and they have another chance now. So they have chances, and if they want to make the playoffs, they've probably got to win this game, probably got to win at least 2 out of 3. Now, like I said, the Vikings are 7-7. If they win out and finish 10-7, Minnesota is in the playoffs. But obviously a big one Sunday against the Rams. It's kind of 3-game sprint to the finish. It starts Sunday at home.
Definitely. Well,
yeah,
go ahead.
I was going to say the Rams know what it feels like to be a wounded animal like that, and that's the way they were against the Cardinals a couple weeks ago when they had 4 starters out, 2 starters, 2 of their key players, Tyler Higbee and Jalen Ramsey. They found out 2 hours before kickoff that they'd be without those players. So even losing Dalvin Cook for the Vikings, that desperation can kick you into another gear, and so the Rams definitely have to be aware of that.
Well, I know one person on the Rams team who's very aware of what this Vikings defense can do, and that's Mathew Stafford, who's now in charge of that Rams offense. Mike Zimmer is 5-8 against Stafford, and he comes in with a whole new set of offensive weapons. How has he been so far this season for the Rams, Sam?
Well, when he's on, when he's playing like Mathew Stafford can play, he's been phenomenal. The Seattle game, some of the passes that he threw, especially the throws to Cooper Kupp, every big play that Cooper Kupp made came off a tremendous Mathew Stafford pass. Now, he was part of that lull, that 3-game losing streak where he had 3 consecutive games with pick sixes. So there was certainly a setback with Mathew Stafford. I wonder if he was playing hurt. He didn't say, constantly denied that, but we've seen him hurt before. But he's come back really strong now and super sharp. I mean, in a way that LA Rams fans are not used to seeing a quarterback play like that.
Yeah, Sam. Stafford has been pretty good in his first season in LA, but the Vikings obviously know him well, including, Tatum said, Mike Zimmer. And you can probably expect Zimmer to dial up some exotic blitzes against Stafford. The two know each other very well. But one thing that has really worked for the Vikings all season has been their pass rush. And that's actually a little surprising given the moving and shaking that unit has done up front. The Vikings have had multiple sacks in all 14 games this season, which actually ties an NFL record set by the 74 Raiders of at least 2 sacks in every game. That Raiders team obviously only played a 14-game season. So if the Vikings can get 2 or more sacks on Sunday, they will actually set an NFL record, which is kind of, like I said, a little bit surprising considering all the moving and shaking up front. DJ Wadham, as we see here, had the best game of his career on Monday night against Chicago, 3 sacks. Sheldon Richardson has drawn a lot of praise for kicking out to defensive end after playing defensive tackle. And, Armon Watts, Michael Pierce, Delvin Tomlinson, it's been kind of a group effort up front. So a chance that the Vikings defensive line and defense can set a record Sunday, and that'd be pretty cool.
Little delay, so I didn't mean to be talking over you, but you're right, and that's Mathew Stafford, where he's run into problems. There's been a little bit of indecision. You're not going to surprise him with any blitzes, or at least give him something he hasn't seen before. Such an experienced quarterback, but I think losing Robert Woods earlier this season was a big hurdle to overcome, and might have given him a bit of a hiccup of hesitation in some situations. But as we see OBJ work into the offense a little bit more, I think he's getting the ball out of his hands quicker.
And speaking of pass rush, I mean, you can't help but talk about Aaron Donald and just his dominance in the past few games and really all season. Mike Zimmer called him the best 3-technique guy out there. Is he playing his best ball right now?
Well, he's certainly playing great ball. I mean, he's been so off the charts with all those years as Defensive Player of the Year. So I don't know if he's at the very height right now, but he's playing great. And it's so much trouble when you get that kind of pressure up the middle. You can adjust on the edges. You can shift the line. You can roll out one way or the other, run away from a player like that. But when he's coming up the middle like Aaron Donald does, it just wreaks havoc. And now with the guys he has on the edges, it only makes him better. So he is a definite factor. Guys know where he is on the field at all times.
Yeah, a lot of chatter about Aaron Donald, obviously, this week. A lot of chatter, too, about Jalen Ramsey. And one guy who talked about him a lot is obviously Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson, who said today that he actually had circled this game against the Rams on his calendar months ago when the schedule came out and saw, hey, December 26th, week 16 at home against the Rams. Me against Ramsey, let's go. Jefferson said today, this is a statement game for me. And you can see why. JJ is one of the best young receivers in the game, one of the best overall receivers in the game, if you ask me. And this is another chance for him to be on a national stage. People are going to be watching this game between 2 current playoff teams to see how he plays against Ramsey. And if he succeeds and does well, that's only going to boost JJ's national profile, which is already pretty high. So that's a matchup I'm looking forward to watching. I think we're all looking forward to watching that one. Probably the #1 cornerback in the league against one of the best young wide receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, it will boost both their profiles, and unless there's news that I haven't heard, Adam Thielen's coming back, right? I mean, he's going to be available so that when you look at the accuracy of Kirk Cousins this season and the weapons that he has, and even at tight end, the Rams are going to have their hands full. And they played without Jalen Ramsey against Arizona and did pretty well, but he's an all-pro player on the back end, and the Rams are certainly happy to have him. But he'll move around a little bit with the best receiver and see how it goes.
Yeah, speaking of players that could potentially be back for this game, we asked for your hot take earlier this week, and it was scorching in the beginning. And we were a little worried for you, Sam, but then you hear the news today. And so I'm really excited for you to be able to share your hot take for this Vikings-Rams game, something that we all thought was a little surprising, but now it seems like you kind of are halfway there with making it happen.
Yeah, the Rams have activated Cam Akers, a great running back from last season who tore his Achilles before training camp. Great back. If I were to make a comparison with Cam Akers, and Cam would be sort of a complementary back to Sony Michel, who you see right there, and Darrell Henderson. But Cam Akers would be a great addition to this backfield. I mean, I sort of compare him to Joe Mixon, or maybe almost in an earlier era, a Roger Craig or a Ricky Watters, a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield and really do damage that way. Not super quick, but very fast and explosive. And it helps Mathew Stafford so much to have a running game. I mean, in Detroit, didn't have a running game. He didn't at all. I mean, really, his last 1,000-yard rusher was in 2013 with Reggie Bush. So Sony Michel's been running well. Darrell Henderson's been a nice change of speed. And then to get a guy like Cam Akers for December and January playoff run, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it seems to be some good timing there. Eric, I don't know if your hot take could live up to that heat level, but we'll give you a shot, your hot take for this Vikings-Rams game.
Yeah, I cannot compete with the Hall of Famer that Sam is. But my hot take is that Justin Jefferson is going to have 21 or more receiving yards on Sunday. And you say, well, Eric, that's not a lot. That's not a very hot take. But if he gets 21 or more, then he will set a record held by his friend and a player who's going to be on the other sideline, and that is OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. If JJ gets 21 or more yards, he'll have 2,756 receiving yards in his first 2 seasons, which will set a record for a player in their first 2 seasons. JJ passed Randy Moss for the Vikings record against the Bears on Monday, and like I said, with 21 yards, he can surpass OBJ on Sunday. JJ knows where he's at. He joked today that he's 21 yards away. He's been keeping tabs on that. So it'll be good to see. Again, it's not a very hot take, but I wanted to shout out JJ and kind of acknowledge his brilliance once again through his first 2 seasons in the NFL.
I spoke to him this week, and he basically said that you couldn't write this story any better. He breaks Randy's record in front of Randy, and then now, hopefully, OBJ's record in front of OBJ. I mean, it's just the stuff that, Sam, you know, happy endings and all that kind of stuff. So there's one last question before we let you go, Sam. We always like to ask our guests here on Opposing Viewpoints to finish this sentence. The Rams win if?
The Rams win if they can get pressure on Kirk Cousins with their trio of great pass rushers. We talked about Aaron Donald, but you got Von Miller coming off the edge. Von had his first sack as a Ram last week against Seattle. And then Leonard Floyd. I mean, if Leonard Floyd is your 3rd best pass rusher, you're doing pretty well as a defensive line. So I think getting the pressure up front, not giving Kirk Cousins a chance to get that ball out to a JJ or to an Adam Thielen is a huge task for the Rams, and it's what'll make their defense go.
All right, switching things up, Eric, the Vikings win if?
Yeah, I'm not going to switch it up too much because the Vikings will win if they can contain Aaron Donald. That is probably the storyline going into Sunday's game is keeping number 99 in check. Dalvin Cook said he's a Hall of Famer. Mike Zimmer said obviously he's the best 3 technique in the league. Andre Patterson compared him to John Randall. So a lot of praise for Aaron Donald. And we saw Monday night the Vikings offense struggle against a good defensive tackle in Akeem Hicks. Hicks had 2 sacks. The Vikings struggled to really run the ball consistently against Chicago. Well, Aaron Donald is much better than Akeem Hicks, who is a great player in his own right. So the Vikings need to kind of, as Sam said, keep that interior pressure contained, because if not, getting pressure up the middle has bothered Kirk Cousins in his career overall. So keeping number 99 in check is going to be key. It wouldn't surprise me if the Vikings double team him pretty much all game. That's what they did back in 2017, back in 2018. So watch number 99. He's a big man. He's a future Hall of Famer. The Vikings have to keep him in check if they want to win.
All right, well, it is definitely going to be a game with a lot on the line this Sunday when the Vikings host the Rams. We want to have a big thank you for LA Times reporter, NFL reporter, Sam Farmer, for joining us today. Sam, it's been an honor. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Tatum. Thank you, Eric. Merry Christmas. And now I'm going to scour the waiver wire for my running back to fill in for Dalvin Cook.
Yes, best of luck this week in your championships, and have a happy holidays. And we wish you all back home Merry Christmas and happy holidays. Be sure to stick with Vikings.com and all the Vikings and digital and social apps to get you ready for the big game on Sunday.